And hello there. In this Satisfactory video here, I'm going to show you my huge power plant, what I think is the most fuel efficient power plant that you can make, you can make so far, not including, using oil, basically. Your oil efficient, your best oil efficiency power plant. Let's go over there and take a look at it. Let's go over there, and I think it's which pipe is it? It's this pipe here. Let's go there and check it out. Take long. My hyper tubes is just up here. I'm using the the oil node off of the geyser thing. That's right down there, and I should be getting sucked down to the bottom down here. Here we go. There we go. So yeah, I'm using the pipes from up there. What's the thing called? It is the resource well, the resource pressure well, the oil node that's right up there. So let's go check that out first, and then from up there we can take a good look at the power plant from there. And it's not even done yet. It's pretty big, but it takes a lot of work to do it. And you need the alternate recipe for the fuel. So this is the pressurized oil well. It's got the 6 nodes right here, and I broke them into 3 parts. So as you can see here, there's 3 lines going. Each of these lines is 450 oil each, and you can check this out here. Of course, you got to use this up there and get your 1350. Get the max oil pumping out of here. So that comes into that crude oil right there, and we have an autosave coming up there. So let's change over to my hover pack, so we get a better look at stuff on top of the factory. So there it is right there. You can get a glimpse of it while we wait for this autosave to leg it up, and we can take a look at there. And that's just using one of these pipes. So far I only have one of these pipes done. And so you can come right down here, and just one of these pipes is just the top one right here is feeding all of these things right here. So it's feeding these right here, and there's 15 of them, and we're just using the crude oil into the heavy oil. So we're changing the crude oil into the heavy oil, and we're getting some plastic. You need lots of plastic, and this helps out immensely. But you get 4 heavy oil each, and we can break this down further into cells of 5 to make it simpler for you. So you have the 450 oil per line. You can break it down into 150 oil. So if you find just a regular normal node of 50 and you pump it up to like 150, you'll get one of these cells. So each of these cells basically convert it into 5 of these for 150. So 150 of these is popping out in 5. That's 200 or 20. I do the parts per minute is the best way to organize this stuff. So you get 200 parts per minute of the heavy oil out of this. So that's 5 of these make 200, and then we stick it in the blenders with the alternate fuel recipe, and these blenders right here take 5 each. So then you can make that into a group of 4. So that group of 5 over there goes into the group of 4 over here to make that the 200 per minute right there. And this is pumping out, yes, that's right, 100 per minute. So that's quite a bit of fuel. It's a big, huge increase. Each one of these blenders has converted into 100 fuel per minute. So roughly that's almost 10 power plant lines. It's 9 total, but 8 and 1/3 basically. So it's 8 and 1/3 power plants for one blender, and so that 150 from the 5 cell turns into 4, and each of those 4 is like a full 8 power plants, and a little bit left over if you want to actually use that remainder to make another 50 watts power out of these power plants right here. So as you can see, I got the full cells going right here, and yeah, you can build through some of these objects. So this cell right here, that's 3 of them put together with 3 groups of blenders. As you can see, they're all mixed up here. So I have just the pipelines going in there. So 5 of these, 1 2 3 4 5 feed into this one right here, and then I split that into 5. You can do this any way you want. It doesn't really matter. You can interconnect them any way you feel like, but I just like to organize it a little bit better, so I know these 4 here, 5 guys right here are feeding these 4 blenders, mixing them with the water that's coming in. And then each of those blenders is using their own set water supply too, to make it simple on myself, that type of a thing. And so then we got the next 4 cells right here, and the next 4 over here, and I put them in the extra fuel tanks, and I was just bad room for organizing, but yeah, I was using these little buffers right here for extra fuel, just to make sure the power plants have that buffer in case something goes wrong and they got some fuel they can burn and stuff like that. But yeah, each of these lines come out here, like this one here comes out to this one here, and then it goes straight down this line right here for all these power supplies right here. So let's try and zoom a little bit faster, and you can see them all coming down here. And this is denying in a little bit. I just put at the last one right there, underclocked at the 50 to make 100% use of all the fuel, and rinse and repeat over and over again. So yeah. All in total, added up for all these power plants that are just off of this one line right here, it ends up being like 15k watts of power. It's pretty crazy to have that much power. I can go check my power supply here in a second. If I can get down here with these hover things. Yeah. So you can check out the wattage. Yeah, I'm producing like 29k watts of power. I was below this, but it was using it before. But yeah, that's like over half my power just in this little thing right here, and this is only 1/3 done. I have to keep building this if I want to, if I actually need power, and that's how efficient this fuel thing is right here. Building this huge huge thing right here, and I got these 2 lines still going. And of course, these if I'm feeding these 5 blenders right here, so I need 5 more of these refineries. To make the plastic. So they all go into this one right here, and they're making the plastic, which I'm sending up and away to my base way over there, because I just don't bother the train. The base is just right there that needs the plastic. But yeah, it goes right into there, and there's the fuel lines right here. So yeah, all of the fuel lines go into there, and then I got these 2 are not even done yet. So that is my most efficient fuel line that's going through here. Of course, you have to have that alternate recipe going on with the blender. If you don't have that recipe for the distilled fuel, it's going to be a pain. You can't do this. You can go with turbo fuel, but yeah, I don't like. That's a whole bunch of extra steps in certain locations, but to make the most out of this area here, there is a ton of water underneath here, and of course you're going to pump it up and around. It's not a small build, but you can break it down to really small if you want. Like, you don't have to overclock that right away. I don't need to overclock it right now. I should actually lower it, but you can start off with just the first 5. So when you first get that thing unlocked and get the blender and get that recipe, that's why you go out and get those hard drives. You can go out there and just make the first 5. So you can put down 5 of these, and then you can combine them together with the fuel with the 1 pump line right there. I think it's 400 water. So 3 of those things, and I overclocked one of them because I was lazy that way, and I had lots of them. But yeah, to get the 400, overclock the one to get 400 water, and split it into your blender. So you gotta have these blenders unlocked, of course. As I said, you get that 100 fuel. 100 fuel coming out there is way better than the alternative on these things right here for making fuel. We can check it out just to show you some of the other recipes in the refinery that I've unlocked so far. But yeah, go to the refinery here. You could just, basically, if you want fuel and you go to this one right here, it takes 60 to make 40. And as you can see right there, we're doing way better because that alternate recipe it just kicks ass. I think the blender is using 50 per minute, and it's producing 100 fuel. So that's a huge difference in heavy oil residue right there. And if you're just going to go straight into fuel, it takes 60 crude to make 40, and those things are down to 30 to make 550 of the heavy oil, which turns into more. So yeah. This basically converts 30 oil into 20 fuel, and this other one over here converts that 30 oil into 40, and that 40 with the blender is pretty much how much does the blender take again? Blender is 50. So if I brought this down to 50 instead of 40, that's still at 20% less. So that's 80 fuel. So you're doing 80 per minute doing it that way, equivalent, versus this. So yeah. 80 fuel or 20. Big difference in the number of fuel you get per oil off of the oil one right there. Get the proper oil one right there. Yeah, so that's a big, huge difference. If you can get that recipe, I think it's the best recipe for fuel and doing that. And you can check out the other alternate ones right here. This is only the 60 and the 20. That makes a lot of that 12. That one sucks. And these ones right here, just making extra plastic. This is what you probably should do at the start of the game: is do all plastic, convert your oil into plastic and get the heavy oil residue, and then try and get that built into fuel later on. Use that for fuel, for power. It's more important to get that plastic going at the start and stuff like that. A little bit of rubber, don't need very much of it at all. But yeah, and anything else here to see? No, nothing else for the fuel part right here. The turbo fuel. the alternate turbo fuel, you can check this one out. This is the next best recipe, kind of, if you have the things nearby. To make the compacted coal, you need to have coal and the sulfur nearby and convert it into compacted coal to make the turbo fuel. And the turbo fuel, it's pumping out 30 per minute, and it's using 35.5. So it's kind of like weird numbers. So you have to do a lot of mixing and matching to get that properly. But yeah, the turbo fuel it's just not that great. I think for the amount of work you got to put into getting it, the extra steps to make it, I don't think it's worth it for the time you got to spend for maybe a little bit of a gain. 30. You're only using 37 to get 30, and this 30 is basically it's almost 3 times better than regular fuel. To stick that into your fuel things, if you want to know, it's 4.5 for one of these oil things right here. So if you use a turbo fuel maximum capacity, this would be a 4.5 per minute. So using the turbo fuel here, you're pumping out 30 per minute. So that's quite a bit. 4.5, that converts into quite a lot of power plants. Doing it that way, it's just it's not going to be even unless you're building a whole bunch. You're going to even it out and then fix it at the end, type of thing. But yeah, it's just 37.5. So basically, close to 40 per minute. You're pumping out at 40 per minute there. And what's the heavy oil residue right here? 40 per minute. And this is pumping out 40 per minute basically. So you're turning it to crude. That's the same starting process as what I'm using right now to get that 40. But the turbo fuel is just a little bit less at 34 plus the coal to get the 30 per minute. So it's a little bit better, but the 30 per minute versus turning it into mixing it with water and getting 100 fuel, that's the difference. That's the basic difference right there. With that little margin of error there, 2.5 out of it all extra to make up for that 30 parts per minute. And it's not 3 times better, so that would be 90 fuel basically. So it converts into a little above 90 fuel. So it's pretty close to the same if you're doing the numbers. If you get a calculator out and do the numbers properly, it's pretty much close to the same as using the blender recipe as it is using this alternate heavy turbo fuel recipe, the simple version of it. And this one here isn't as simple, using fuel to make turbo fuel. And compacted coal again, so it's probably not as good as the other one. I didn't bother even exploring the option on that one there because this was relatively simple, but a long time to build something this big for your power plants type of thing going on there. So that's my reasoning, and that's why I think it's the most efficient way going on here and designing it. And this is an okay spot because there's nothing else around here at all. If you check out the map where it is, this is right in almost in the middle of the map type of a thing, and this is the oil thing. There's nothing else around here. We got the towers here around. There's some coal and there's some the butox or the aluminum around here, but there's not much else around here to do it, and everything else will be transferred too far away to transfer it around to get that and that right there. It is possible you can make a line right there. I have that line going all the way over to here, so and then I have this going all the way over to there, so you can ship in this line here over to here, and then this line over here to make the compacted coal if you really wanted to, and then go with that, and then turbo fuel it up if you really wanted to make use of that. But I find this is a lot easier just using all the water here. So you're not going to have a issue with water because you have all of this right here to get water, and underneath here too. I had to put this in the air a little bit, and come on, stop flying. I don't know how to turn this thing off. You turn this jetpack off. And this thing's a little slow to go down here. It's my pets. Are they still down there? Yeah. What do you guys got for me? A mushroom. And you got flowers. Ooh, you guys suck today. There's my slugs. You can get power slugs off of those guys. The tame guys. But yeah, there's water, lots of water all around here, and it's relatively flat, but there's nothing else really going on in this area besides water. And of course you're going to pump it up there and waste some pumps and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty good. I think that's enough for now. You got a good look at this power plant. I can take one last look if I can actually fly up there. Come on. This jetpack is weird. The hover pack thing to take a look at all these power plants. I just, I fed extra lines way up there because I was, running out of room, and I'm going to expand this way again to do another 15 of these power plants and another 5 of these in the oil refineries to deal with the plastic type of a thing, and then do another one over this side type of a thing, mirror it up, and then go all the way that way, and then way far this way, and make a whole bunch of, that's just a crazy amount of power when needed, instead of going nuclear. But I might go nuclear anyways before I get this done, because I don't need all that power right now, because I haven't done much more, anything bigger than this really, except maybe over there starting another line type of a thing. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully that was informative on what you can do with these power plants with those alternative recipes and stuff like that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.